it's thinking about going live. We're live. Hello, everybody. I'm here with the lovely Colin McIntyre. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone who's watching, Colin?
Of course, Helen, no problem. My name's Colin McIntyre. I'm the owner of a company called Lean Procurement. It was created in 2016 when I lost my job in the energy industry. I was doing part-time lecturing since 2003, but then decided to take the plunge and do procurement training full-time.
Nice. So what does that mean? Talk in layman's terms. What do you sell?
I sell procurement, so I'm teaching people, I'm selling the training package, and I tell people how to, or show people how to buy properly. It's one of those things that people like to do, and we've noticed in a lot of organizations, people who shouldn't be doing buying do the buying, and the people who are sometimes are doing buying aren't often doing the buying properly.
Nice. So Sarah says hello from one Scottish person to another. I like that. Okay, so talk to me about your journey, like with me. How did you find out about me? Like, what was the process? How have you found it? Hopefully, all good.
Yeah, I can't even remember. I think it was LinkedIn. I think I saw something. It was either LinkedIn or Facebook. Something just popped up. It was the LinkedIn 5-day challenge.
Yeah.
It just popped up, and I thought, oh, this might be interesting, because where I was at that point in time, I was working on with another company to do stuff together, and for me to sell some shares in it. It wasn't worth much at the time, just to sell some shares in the company. But when COVID started, some of the directors decided to pull out of it. So that was me back on my lonesome again. And I didn't really know where to go, where to look. And this just popped up. And when I got into it, I learned how to do the social selling, some really good, very, very good one-liners, such as people don't like to be sold to, people like to buy. It's a one-liners. It's a one-liners that could mean so much and make so much difference. But got involved. It was very like the approach. No nonsense, no excuses. If you say you don't have time, you better be careful, because there's usually always, if it's really important to you, for example, it's always good to have time. So I thought the 5-day pushed me out of my comfort zone, especially with the videos and the cameras. But I felt that's what I needed to do. I felt very insular work, especially during times of lockdown and COVID. So it was actually good to be part of a bigger network of similar-minded individuals. So after the 5-day LinkedIn, I signed up for the LinkedIn Mastermind, and that's where things really seemed to take off. I seemed to get a lot of traction. I went from teaching in a classroom to teaching virtually, and that opened up whole new markets. Now I've got students from North America, Middle East, Africa, Europe, England, different parts of Scotland, and I wouldn't have expected to have been like that. And I'm convinced that if it wasn't for what I learned at the time in the LinkedIn Mastermind, there would be no way I would have been as visible as I am to those markets. So that was at LinkedIn Mastermind. And then last year, joined the Business Mastermind. And there was some few familiar faces, which I still needed, because working in your office, on your own for quite a long periods of time does get lonely. I like more of a person to be working in teams, getting that team dynamic going. But I felt there was a team virtually there for me to support, ask questions behind the camera for me. And again, it's going back to the one-liners again, pushing your price up. And that's what I did just before Christmas time. And again, it's the fear. But since Christmas, my number of students I've recruited has dipped slightly. I would say maybe about 5%, but again, about 50% more profit per student from it. So it's certainly the last, it's coming up to be 2 years in the summer. It's been a very good journey. I still feel there's more to come. So it's just the start of it.
I just love that. Yes. And having the communities all through lockdown, like, I don't know if people understand how important they are for me and my mental health and like my mindset, because like I always feel better after a group call. Like I always feel shifted in my energy after a live call. And I hope that, the feedback is that other people do. And I think for lockdown, like leading people through that, in that community, at one point we all, had to put a sort of therapy team in place because people were really struggling and it was kind of out of our, out of our capacity to deal with, so we're bringing people in but it's now feeling like we're coming out the other side of it and the community that's been built. And like you say, I'd say most people in the business mastermind are alumni from the LinkedIn mastermind. So there's that real sense of graduation from 5-day challenge, LinkedIn mastermind, business mastermind. And what people might not know watching this is that with the business mastermind, you pay some now and you pay the rest when you make it. And it's quite an interesting sort of pricing strategy because I get a lot of pushback from people of like, well, why would you do that? Like, why would you take half up front and half when you make it back? And how are you going to make sure people pay it back? To which I say, we don't put credit control on it. We don't put a contract on it. What we say is we're taking half the responsibility to help you take the action and do the work. And you're taking half the responsibility to take action and do the work, right? We're trying to help you and you're doing it. But what we say is you pay us back when you're ready, able, willing, and excited to pay us back. So it's not as soon as you make an ROI, it's when you're making an ROI and you can see the future, there's going to be more to come. So what's triggered this actual interview is that you recently paid us back. So thank you very much for that, which is amazing. And it's such a fantastic... I mean, there's been more than Colin. There's been more people, and we're just kind of, getting people lined up for interviews about it. But I think it's such a great credit to you to doing the work. Credit for you to honouring that agreement because we don't have to legally. So we really appreciate for that. But it's just so great for us to see that. It's just pure validation for us that all the work that we do, all the mentors that we have, all the calls that we have, and the training that we provide. If people really embrace it and do the work, then they get the results. And that's the real tangible thing, is that when someone's paying us back out of just the love of saying, thank you, I appreciate you, I've done the work, I've got the result. It's a big party behind the scenes when that happens. It really is. So,
I think that caring culture comes out in the groups. Nobody's keeping scores. I did this for you. You've got to do this for me. Because sooner or later you'll get it back, and that's how I like to do business as well. Sometimes I pay for something and take a hit. I've just paid for new books for international carriage. I'll take the hit on that. That's no problem because I want these people to get through their exams and so on, and they'll make references to other people and so on. So. Yeah, you'll get it back. You'll get it back eventually, anyway.
Yeah, you get. I would say about the groups that we run, like you get out what you put in. They're called masterminds for a reason. Yeah, they're not like a true version of what you traditionally have. A group of people sat around, but they're masterminds as in it's the sum of all the people that make it what it is. And without that, it's not about me dictating from the top saying this is what we're doing now. It's much more. It's much more fluid and flexible than that. And I think people really get out what they put in. They really do, and it's just great. I just feel like what an honor to be part of it, and just I've created it. I guess it's just like what it's been 5 years hard graft, I guess, but it's almost they take on a life of their own now. LinkedIn Mastermind's 5 years old, Business Mastermind's 18 months old. So they're kind of, it's like having children, really. They're growing up and they become self-fulfilling kind of projects in a way. So really great. I do love it, yeah.
I think I feel similar to that from my own business, because when I started the LinkedIn Mastermind, I had about 13 or 14 students. So it's a very tight-knit group. Now I've got about 72. It's grown that much. And my issue isn't getting the money in sales marketing. It's having the resources and how to actually grow the business infrastructure. And I found the mastermind helped that as well. Because I was saying, look, I'm drowning here with administration. What can I do? I was given a few contacts. I led to some contacts. I led to some contacts, and so on. So creating a network with the people that are there to help your problems, because all the problems shift from one area to the next, to the next, to the next. There's no one day you wake up and you think, I haven't got a problem to solve here. The problems shift all over the place, but there's no one day the same. That's what makes the whole thing exciting.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I like to think that the way that I present in there, the way that I talk about everyone's evolving with me. So yeah, I might be a few steps ahead of people, but it's literally I'm changing and growing and evolving, and the world around us is changing. So it's almost like as soon as I learn something or I change the way I think about something, I'm straight back in the group, particularly Business Mastermind, because that's much more general, so literally, for example, Paul and I were working on scorecard in the business. So we're like, oh my God, everybody do scorecards. Scorecard's amazing. Paul can help you. It's kind of, it's my almost like childlike excitement of all the new things I'm like bringing back to the community, as well as don't do that because I've done that. And that is, a fast track to getting, not a good idea. And I always say, Rochelle said it, she said, you're the only kind of mentor I've ever had that just tells me what to do. And it's kind of like, I'm just like, yeah, don't do that. Do that. Don't do that. Try that. And, learn from our sometimes very long, painful, expensive mistakes. So, but yeah, you're right. The network, and I can't imagine there's any business problem that can't be solved by somebody in there. If it's not them directly, then they'll know somebody. And I think that's very, very valuable, because after a long time in the online space, not everyone is who they say they are. Not everyone can do what they say they can do. So it's good to have that trusted tax.
Another one of the things I got from the masterminds was you actually start to know yourself a lot better. But when you know if you're the only one in the company at the time, or one or two others, you get to know what your strengths are. You get to know what your weaknesses are just by trying all the things that's being suggested in the group. For example, with administration, I'm terrible with administration. So I'm trying to shove that as much as I can to systems and other people. So it does give you a lot more clarity, not just where your business is going, but also in yourself too. That was a big plus I found right at the start.
Nice. And also, Colin, it's not just for girls, right? People have this perception that it's all women. It's not all women, is it? There's a lot of women, but not all women.
I think it meant, and it was just an observation at one of the calls. I was in, there was about 27, 28 people there, and when I dialed in, I looked at all the camera. Oh, I'm the only bloke here. Oh,
oh well, yeah, exactly. It's great. I think guys tend to do so well in my world because I am pretty direct, and it is kind of like follow these steps, do these things, and get the results. And I think a lot of the girls are like, oh, but what if, what if that? And guys tend to be like, right, okay, I'm just going to get on with it and do it, even if I feel uncomfortable. So it's good. Do you feel more confident on video now?
Guys get uncomfortable too. I remember start with the whole videos that I spent hours just practicing and practicing and practicing until it came to the point, you just go ahead and do it.
Get on with it, yeah. That's great. Oh, that's great. Oh, it's so lovely to chat to you properly. And again, as it grows, I used to know everybody, really well, and know everyone's names and businesses and all that, and as it grows, it's like, oh, I feel like I want to catch up with everyone and see how everyone's doing. So it was really nice to speak to you and hear your journey. I mean, fantastic. Like this is my last call of the day, and I'm ending the day on a high. I feel like the work I've done has made a difference, right, for you?
Well, it's made a huge difference. It came just at the right time where I was in the business. The COVID was out there. The share deal with the company fell flat. I was on my own again. I needed help. I needed company. I needed direction. And I could put my hand to my heart and say the business wouldn't be where it is just now if I didn't start that 5-day LinkedIn mastermind a year and a half ago.
Amazing. Well, you took all the risk. You give us 5 days of your time, then you took the action, and then you invested in the programs, both programs. So you've not everyone does that, but you've done it and you've got the result. And thank you very much for paying us back. And
thank you.
Look forward to seeing what you do next. It's all profit from there, right? All right, thanks, Colin. Thank you so much.
Helen.
Have a lovely day. And
You too.